Bourbon United with Dylan. If you'd like to see a review of the Elijah Craig Toasted Rye, stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in to Bourbon United, episode 3. We're going to be reviewing the Elijah Craig Toasted Rye. In this episode, we're going to be looking at the mash bill, the proof, comparing it a little bit to the straight rye and the toasted bourbon. Naturally, we want to compare everything. And this is a new offering from Elijah Craig, i.e. Heaven Hill, which we just recently did some Heaven Hill reviews. Let's get into it. So, what do we know about the Elijah Craig Straight Rye? The straight rye, as we know, is 51% rye, 14% barley, and 35% corn. Guess what? They toasted the straight rye. So, it's going to be the same mash bill. When I say they toasted it, what that means is it's going to be a secondary barrel that's been toasted, not charred. So toasting, what's toasting versus charred? Most of you guys that have been around bourbon for a little while probably looked it up and understand what toasting is. For those who don't, toasting is simply where they do not char the barrel. They're going to lightly heat it, warm it for 20-30 minutes with just a lot of heat in the barrel. Imagine just super light toasted toast, so you're not going to burn it. So what is that going to do for us? What that's going to do is bring out some of those lighter notes, those caramels, those vanillas, those really sweet things that people love in bourbon and rye. So that process is called toasting. We've been seeing lots of different toasted expressions for a while now. It's going to be the secondary barrel. So we're still going to have the aging process done in a charred barrel, which is going to be char 1 through 4, or a lot of them reside around 3. So this will be the toasted expression of the straight rye. Proof is exactly the same, mash bill is exactly the same. So talking about that mash bill. So we do know that the mash bill is a high corn rye. So instead of a high rye bourbon, where we know we have a lot of corn, this time we have a high corn rye. So it's only 51% rye, it's barely even a rye. So it's going to be a sweeter rye, similar to the Pikesville rye, where you're going to get a lot of those traditional bourbon notes. For me, on the straight rye, I'm getting a lot more of a traditional rye flavor. On the toasted, we're about to find out. Let's go ahead and give it a nose. On the nose, I'm getting a lot of the toast from the toasted barrel. When people say they get toast, for me, I get the light, almost like if you were to toast actual caramel, or like the scent you get from like a top of a creme brulee. So those really caramel light toasted scents, light toasted nuts or roasted nuts, kind of a buttercream on the nose as well. Not as much of a rye. I feel like the toasted barrel has kind of made the rye flavors a little more subtle on the nose compared to the straight rye, where you're getting a lot of traditional mint and dill and the things that you love rye for, right? Even though it's still a high corn rye. So the other thing I feel like the toast has done for this rye is I feel like it's brought out the corn on the nose, which is really weird. I don't normally get a lot of corn on many noses, and definitely not on a rye nose. Almost like a carameled corn or a candied corn type nose. Just kind of odd. Okay, on to the palate. Okay. I'm getting the cream, almost like a cream corn. A little more of the rye is coming through on the palate. Not much though. It's a light hint. So if you're not a big rye lover, similar to Pikesville Rye, this might be a good starter rye for a bourbon lover that's wanting to get into ryes and still likes really sweet things and barely wants any of that rye spice. Because I'm getting some baking spices, which is nice, like you would get from a cookie or like an oatmeal cookie, getting some almost like a milk chocolate with a hint of cookie, almost like a chocolate chip cookie. You've had a little bit of bacon spice, like a little nutmeg in it. Not overly complex. Remember, this is only 94 proof, so we're not going to get a ton of extra flavor or a long finish. So the finish for me is super lacking. It's not very drawn out. A little caramel hint on the very end there. Not much really vanilla, but falls flat on the finish for me, for sure. I'll revisit the regular straight rye for the finish. Yeah, same on the straight rye. Now, what I do like from the straight rye is that traditional rye spice and flavor that we want ryes for. So I would compare this to a lower proof Pikesville Rye, but with some toast. So the toasted does bring on one extra, maybe two extra layers of flavor there. A little creme brulee, a little bit of toasted oak flavor. Not bad. There's so many better ryes I feel like out there, but the toasted does bring a couple extra little flavors. If you really love, or you're really big into toasted whiskeys, particularly with ryes, not bad. 55 bucks is also not a huge price tag compared to some of the whiskeys we're seeing out there now. 80, 90, 100, 120. But usually with those, you're also getting way higher proof. If this was sitting at 100 or 115, somewhere in 105, anywhere from 100 to 115 proof, it would probably bring it home, because that finish is not there at all, and it would probably help fall, maybe some of those toasted flavors to fall through. It does also give me a sense that they proofed it way down, maybe added too much proofing water to get the proof down to where they wanted it, which makes a lot of those flavors muted. Because I feel like they're there, they want to come out, but because the proof is on the lower end, really just not getting a lot of bang on the palate there, or the finish. So straight rye, 30 bucks. Toasted rye, 55 MSRP. That's where it starts. I've even seen it in a couple of spots over the weekend, up as high as 65. I snagged this one for 55. So $25 difference. Is $25 extra worth the few extra notes I'm getting on the toasted rye? Personally, I don't feel like it's worth the extra 25 bucks. Sorry to say, I was really hoping it would be, but it's not for me. MSRP $55, $30. I'm gonna go grab the $30 straight rye and enjoy it for what it is. A bourbon lover's rye. Would I recommend the straight rye? Absolutely, at 30 bucks. I'd probably put some money onto the Pikesville rye a little quicker, but that one's up at 60. So you're gonna get some more proof on the Pikesville. You're at 110 on that one, which is where it should be. That's where both of these should be for me. What do you need to do to get samples of these three whiskeys? I'm gonna give out free samples to anybody that's a new subscriber. So subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment on it, and share it. After you subscribe, go to the description of this video. At the bottom of the description, there's a web form which has a link. Click the link. It's gonna send me some information after you fill out that form. It's gonna give me your email. After I get that form, I'm going to have all the names of everybody that sent in their forms. At that point, I'm gonna throw all the names into a randomizer. Once I have all the names in the randomizer, I will submit the top 5 names publicly after 1 week, and the top 5 people will get a 2-ounce sample of each one of these to try at home. Share these with a friend, do a tasting, make it fun. I'd like to hear back in the comments what your thoughts are. If your thoughts are similar to mine or not, it doesn't matter. Everybody's palates are different. 94 proof may be your jam. So I'd love to hear. Until next time, This is Dylan with Bourbon United. Drink responsibly. Stay safe, my friend.